And as I was making this video, it turns out what I've been saying keeps getting proven right, and by God am I pissed that I was right about this one too. I guess spoilers for Netflix's new Scott Pilgrim Takes Off series. Although if you're a huge fan of Scott Pilgrim like I am and haven't watched the new show yet, this will likely make you never want to even start it. Still here? Okay, well, it turns out in the opening episode that Scott Pilgrim ends up losing to Ramona's first ex-boyfriend, and he seemingly dies. The rest of the show apparently then makes Ramona the main character, and now she must fight her own evil exes instead of Scott.
Hey, it's been a while since I've done one of these voiceover commentary videos. I've been working on stuff to make this style of content better than it's ever been, and that's been taking up the majority of my time. But it's good to do this again. I just wish it was on better terms, but alas, another topic has come into the sphere that has pissed me off enough to talk about it. If you haven't seen Scott Pilgrim Takes Off before watching this video, go watch it, because it's actually good. And I don't mean like, oh, it's bad, but I still like... No, it's actually good. The animation and fight choreography are stunning, the characterizations and writing are on point, all around a good adaptation. But if you are looking for a one-to-one adaptation of the movie or graphic novels, unfortunately that's not what you're going to get. Now, if you can look past that and enjoy a really good piece of media that might not live up to your expectations, go watch it. Unfortunately, that is the crux of the video today. The idea that people didn't get what they want, what was advertised to them, so let's say a lot of bullshit. So if you didn't know, Netflix's new Scott Pilgrim animated series was advertised as if it was going to be as faithful to the source material as it could be. And then they pulled a bait and switch in an attempt to flesh out the other characters that didn't necessarily get the screen time that they deserved in the graphic novels or the movie. Which I think ultimately has made this a much better adaptation than had it just been a one-to-one. You heard that right, people are complaining about a bait and switch yet again. Everything stays consistent. Look, I understand that when somebody does this, it's cheeky as fuck and comes completely out of left field, but it doesn't necessarily mean the actual media itself is going to be bad. But the reasoning this time for many is seemingly based on more ill-conceived notions about the show's supposed political agenda regarding a certain trope that in some instances, depending on their execution, can be progressive, rather than some sort of feeling of backstabbery. Now, is this an instance of a show shoehorning in politics for a leftist agenda? No, so why are people saying it? Well, as you might have seen in that little montage at the beginning, it's because they didn't actually watch the fucking show before talking about it.
Although if you're a huge fan of Scott Pilgrim like I am and haven't watched the new show yet, the rest of the show apparently then makes Ramona the main character.
Though I've seen a lot of this ideologically based hatred of the show thrown around, specifically in the comments of a Clownfish TV video covering the topic, even though Neon actually has a pretty reasonable take on the situation that's not so much about politics, but rather people not getting what they came for.
Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon, not here with Geeky Sparkles in this video, but I'm going to talk about the new Scott Pilgrim anime on Netflix. And this is a show I was looking forward to for a very, very long time, mostly because I did not think the movie did complete justice to the Scott Pilgrim comic book series, which I've loved for a very long time, and I was hoping for a one-to-one adaptation, and that's not what we got. So we're going to talk about this. I am really on the fence. My feelings about this, I haven't watched the whole show yet. I've seen some clips here and there, and I get what they're going for, and I get that creator Brian Lee O'Malley is behind the bait and switch. but a lot of fans aren't having it. They're not real happy about this. And again, it's a case of, if the expectations were set up front, I think people would probably be a lot more understanding.
Regardless, I'm going to focus in on one user in specific, that being Indy Neon. Because this guy embodies everything we're going to be going over today. Now, I could include Neon in this as well, as he said he hadn't watched the entirety of this show.
I haven't watched the whole show yet.
But his takes are actually based, so he'll be spared the chopping block of a Z-list nobody. That's me. I'm awesome. Subscribe, by the way. In the show, Scott very much takes off as he loses the first fight against Matthew Patel, dying, wink wink, in the process, and now everybody assumes he's dead. He's not actually dead, and you would know that if you watch the goddamn show, but regardless, that kicks off a cute little murder mystery where Ramona has to actually fight her exes herself to find out what happened to Scott. In the end, her and Scott reunite, and they fight an evil future bad timeline version of Scott that had fought Ramona's exes, eventually leading to his Ramona dumping him. By the end of it, they defeat disheveled future Scott to save their relationship all throughout the fabric of space-time. Oh, and the Virtual Boy makes an appearance. It's not really relevant, I just found the gag funny. It was an all-around good story, and it kept as much of the original plot beats as it could, while giving these underrepresented characters their time to shine. And no, it wasn't really a let's shit on the strong male character type of story. If anything, it brought up more of Ramona's shortcomings than it did Scott's, and it worked to remedy both characters' issues. During the climax of the show, a line from the future version of Ramona shows her that she's been running away from those she loves, breaking hearts along the way, and this realization makes her want to make it work with Scott. And Scott realizes that his issues could lead to this disastrous future. So they reconcile their pathological behavior in an attempt to change for each other. The last episode even has this really wholesome scene where Scott apologizes to Knives. It was adorable, frankly. This ending makes both of them better people and ultimately strengthens their relationship in the process, showing that even bad people can change if they really want to. Which personally I think is like the least stereotypical progressive thing I can think of, showing that both men and women can be capable of doing bad things, but also both men and women can change. If this was like a stereotypically woke adaptation, Ramona would be framed as a perfect character while Scott would be portrayed as the only one with flaws. That's not how it is with this show. Now let me tell you what this guy and plenty others think happens. Scott straight up dies, Ramona fights her 7 deadly exes all by herself as a means of empowerment, and by the end of it, she gets in a relationship with Roxy to complete that sweet, sweet, sweet woke LGBT diversity quota, culminating with her and Roxy moving to fucking Portland, Oregon, and living happily ever after. Confirmation bias is a powerful thing, guys. If you don't have all the details, of course you're gonna fill in the gaps with bullshit. This is why it's really important that you actually know what the fuck you're talking about. This would be like if, fucking, like, I don't know, insert right-wing weeaboo here, like, I don't know, fucking Steven Crowder's not a weeb. I'm just gonna pretend Steven Crowder is a weeb. This would be like if Steven Crowder went on complaining about the Steins Gate movie because Karisu role swaps with Okabe, making her the main character, while Okabe takes the back seat in an alternate timeline, but is still integral to the plot, calling it woke. Yeah, she takes center stage, but that doesn't erode Okabe's character, it builds on it. And don't get me wrong, the Steins Gate movie is wacky as hell, but it's still a heart-wrenching fucking watch. Now maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you still think somehow that this is like a politically driven trope and that it's all about politics, whatever. My counter-argument would be that even if that's true, it's still a good show. Isn't that what we anti-SJWs have been saying we've wanted for the better part of a fucking decade now? If this is how we're going to act when we actually get a good piece of media that may or may not have a politically influenced trope, Even though that's what we've been pining for, saying we don't care if a show, movie, or game is political as long as those politics aren't shoehorned into said media, causing the quality to drop drastically. What makes us any better than hypocrites like Hassan Piker, who sleep with the nearest capitalist as long as it gets him a fat paycheck, while still simping for the proletariat? Here's a better question. If we're not even gonna fucking watch the media we're talking about before formulating our opinions, what makes us better than the fucking SJW cucks who jump to conclusions based off the title and thumbnail of a video without ever actually watching the content they're talking about? I hate that most people can't look at a group on an individualistic level, but that's the case. Every fucking time, the loudest and most stupid among us become spokespersons for us. So when a channel with nearly 200,000 subscribers like Indymon can't even abide by the same standards we've been saying we want for fucking years now, it makes all of us look bad. And honestly, this is a disgrace. I wouldn't even be mad if some SJW channel like the fucking Surfs or Destiny took this and ran with it, because people like this cunt have now all made us look like self-serving hypocrites. Anyways, happy Thanksgiving. And then Elliot got drunk on Thanksgiving Day and finished the video 3 days later. Whoops. I'm gonna go take a cold shower, wash off all this disappointment, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Fucking bye.